Being in a heightened state of fear can flare chronic fatigue, pain, brain fog, and other neuroplastic symptoms. But fear isn't the enemy. Like all emotions, it's a messenger. Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca Tolin, a mind body coach and the creator of the Be Your Own Medicine program. Here we explore how to recover from ME/CFS, long COVID, and other mind body conditions. In this video, I'll talk about how to overcome chronic symptoms by facing your fear. Now, you might be thinking, why would I get cozy with something that's making me feel worse? Let me explain. The path to healing is to allow the emotions and sensations that are present in our body while also shifting our thoughts to more supportive ones. Emotions and thoughts are interconnected, but they're two different things. On a primal level, our emotions tell our nervous system whether we're safe or whether we're threatened. Emotions like fear can send us into flight, fight, or freeze, and this alone floods our system with stress hormones. We might feel anxious, dizzy, lightheaded, exhausted, or any other sensation. So it's true that fear is fuel for chronic symptoms, but a lot of people start fearing and fighting the fear itself, and that revs up their nervous system even more. That keeps them locked in this hypervigilant state. When we fight our experience, we're in a fight response. When we fear our experience, we're typically in a flight response. When that all gets too overwhelming to our system, we drop down into freeze or what's called shutdown in polyvagal theory. We experience symptoms in all these states. It works out that I just saw 3 clients in a row who had a very similar pattern. They all felt scared and anxious. And so they started saying affirmations like, I'm safe and okay, there's no problem here, these are just harmless sensations. Now, those affirmations were true. None of them were in harm's way. They were safe, and the sensations were not an accurate reflection of damage in their body. So they did a great job applying the basic principles of mind body healing, but they felt more anxious. Why would that be? Well, when we feel fear or any other challenging emotion like anger, sadness, shame, or guilt, our nervous system is communicating with us. Emotions are messengers. They carry energy and information. At their best, emotion is energy in motion. We want to feel it and let it move through us. But when we ignore stuff or override our emotions, they get louder. They're trying to get our attention. And then these emotions often shift into strong physical sensations, which we call symptoms. When we get neuroplastic symptoms, a part of us is feeling difficult emotions, but that's typically under the surface. It's subconscious, and that's why it's actually expressing in a more physical way. We're just aware we have these darn sensations in our body, but we don't know what we're feeling emotionally. So we really want to get more in touch with that. And from this state, we might tell ourselves that we're safe in a very forced or rote way with an agenda of making the symptoms go away. Now, this agenda of getting rid of symptoms, including fear, doesn't work. It tells our subconscious brain that there is something wrong with our body. Because if our body were okay, why would we want to change it? When our subconscious mind perceives danger of any kind, it triggers a stress response. It warns us in the only way it can, through symptoms. So we want to make resolving our symptoms a long-term goal and finding a sense of safety an immediate goal. How do you engender safety when you're feeling genuinely scared? This is a question I get a lot. You observe the sensation of fear in your physical body, just like we do with somatic tracking. You don't want to push against fear, just like you don't want to push against symptoms. What we resist persists. Let me give you a metaphor. So imagine a little boy who's really frightened of a monster under his bed. How would he react if you said, "You're fine, just get over it"? He'd probably scream louder. You're not hearing him, and he thinks you don't understand this clear and present danger. Now, our limbic brain is just like a child. It's emotional and reactive. How would you treat this scared little person? You might say, "That sounds really scary. I'm right here with you, and we're going to get through this together." You might also hold the child, hum, sing, sway, or rock. You'd use touch to calm this little person. And of course, your words would have a soothing tone too. Children can only absorb new information after they're soothed, but it's the same with us adults because we all have this scared part of ourself. Many people call this their inner child. But even if you don't relate to that term, there is a vulnerable part of each one of us that needs to be heard and held. Okay, let's bring this back to chronic symptoms like fatigue, pain, headaches, or brain fog. When you feel difficult symptoms or emotions, can you attune to yourself with tenderness? You might say something like, "I'm here and I'm listening. I want to support you. I care about your suffering." You might ask this vulnerable part of you these two questions. These have truly changed my life. They sound simple, but they're really potent. What are you feeling? What are you feeling emotionally? And then what do you need? What do you actually need to feel safe? Pause, feel into your body, and notice any sensations present. And then also listen for any messages. Sometimes fear needs us to stand up for ourselves or to set a boundary. It might need us to act. I recently heard psychologist Tara Brach say, "Action absorbs anxiety." That is so true. Action absorbs anxiety. Sometimes we need to move instead of just stewing in it. So I really recommend that you meditate on these two questions or write about them. What am I feeling and what do I need? It takes practice to attune to yourself lovingly instead of impatiently reciting affirmations. And this is where a lot of people get lost. They learn that mind body symptoms aren't dangerous, which they're not, but they try to bully themselves into feeling safe. They're missing self-compassion and somatic safety. A former client and student of mine named Nick recovered from decades of chronic symptoms when he started treating himself more kindly. That was like the missing ingredient for him. And of course, Nick found authentic language that worked for him. You can watch his video on this channel. But I invite you to find the supportive self-talk that resonates with you rather than language that overrides your authentic emotions. To recover from mind-body symptoms, you want to resolve inner conflict by acknowledging your actual feelings, and you want to look at thoughts that fuel those emotions. For instance, you could pause to say, "A part of me is anxious right now," right? So anxiety is not who you are. You're creating this buffer, you're observing it, and you're noticing that a part of me is anxious right now. And you name that, right? Okay, so that's how you're feeling. Then the next thing to look at is, what am I believing? Because our thoughts create a feeling state in the body. And if we keep thinking negative thoughts again and again, it keeps creating these challenging emotions over and over. Are you believing, "I'll never recover"? "I'm too wounded"? That was one that I used to really think all the time. Or maybe your mind keeps going to problem solving. The doctors are missing something like viral fragments or damaged mitochondria. All this sort of fixation and worry keeps the nervous system revved up, my friend. Really, what you want to do is tune into your inner world with tenderness. And notice the thoughts you're thinking. How do they make you feel inside? Anxious, fearful, frustrating, hopeless? Now, if we examine it, is this thought true that I'll never recover? No, I can't actually know that it's true, right? Because I can't predict the future. And it's also predicting a future I don't even want. So, of course, that thought makes me feel worse and it flares my chronic symptoms. What's more true? And this is a process that I went through in my recovery and I still go through, even though I feel good in my body. Look, life can be lifey, so things are always coming up that challenge us. What's more true? Well, turning back to the emotions, a part of me is scared, and that's okay, right? So instead of assuming I'll never recover, we want to tune into, oh, there's just a part of me that's scared right now. And what does this scared part of me need to feel safe? Really listen, learn to attune and listen to yourself, and you can reparent yourself in the way that makes you feel supported. This is really how we shift from the physical to the psychological, as John Sarno very wisely advised us to do. Moving back to fear, we can observe, embrace, and even befriend fear, but we don't let it lead us. Elizabeth Gilbert writes in her book, Big Magic, fear can be in the back seat, but it's not driving the car. When we get curious about it, we might realize that our fear just needs carrying attention, pretty scenery, or even some snacks. So, this is really a skill that we can learn how to attune to our emotions and meet our deepest needs. And I actually think this is the core of healing. Symptoms, including fear, which are just an emotional symptom, are truly crying out for our love. In her beautiful poem, The Most Important Thing, Julia Fahrenbacher writes these words: I am making a home inside myself, a shelter of kindness where everything is forgiven, everything allowed, a quiet patch of sunlight to stretch out without hurry, where all that has been banished and buried is welcomed, spoken, listened to, released. We can't release symptoms without first welcoming ourselves just as we are, my friend. It's a paradox and a beautiful invitation. So, to sum this up, fear is not the enemy, but it's not a good leader either. We want to step into our loving self and tend to the scared parts of us. Sometimes we need to be really courageous, other times we need to be soft. As you listen, learn, and love all parts of yourself, watch how they transform. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, let me know what resonates with you. Subscribe to this channel so you can find new videos and help me spread the word. If you want to try a free somatic meditation, you can go to my website at RebeccaTolin.com and sign up for one. And if you want more support in your recovery, I walk people through the steps in my Be Your Own Medicine course, which is grounded in science, somatics, and self-compassion. Thank you so much for being here, and take good, loving care of yourself.